Morning, everyone, and welcome to the Post Falls Urban Renewal Commission's meeting for October 15th, 2015. Director Lean, would you please call the roll?
Yes, sir. Chairman Baltzell?
Here.
Carstensen?
Here.
Rariman?
Here.
Coles?
Here.
Davis?
Here.
Good morning. And Commissioner Crosby and Malzahn have excused absence this morning.
Okay. And we do have a quorum. Commissioner Coles, lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, any ceremonies, appointments, or announcements this morning? For the good of the order? Not aware of any. So we'll move on to conflict disclosures. Are there any items on the agenda that would be a conflict for any of the commissioners this morning? Okay, seeing none, let's go right on into the consent calendar. Director Lean?
Yes, Chairman Baltzell. Good morning, Commissioners. Item A in the consent calendar is the Commission meeting minutes for September 17. Item B is the Commission special meeting minutes for September 29. Item C is the workshop minutes for October 7. Item D is payables for the month, and they total $1,044,956.18. Significant payables include a pay request number 15 to R.L. Wadsworth for $982,000.
Thank you.
$967.36, and also $33,114.41 for JUB Engineering. Both of those are on the overpass project. That will be funded, those draws will be funded by an advance of $1,025,728.57 loan advance at Washington Trust Bank. And that advance also funds some of the smaller invoices for legal expenses, Spencer Street Extension Project, and the Highway 41 Trail Project. Item E is the bank activity report, which shows total funds in all accounts of $2,949,876. And accrued interest for the month is $902.87. Item F is the financial reports as of September 30, 2015, and those are printed from our in-house QuickBooks accounting system, and as usual, they will be posted to our website for the public to look at. This is also the final monthly financial statement for fiscal year 2015. Your approval on the consent calendar will authorize the transfer of $902.87 accrued interest to the general fund and transfer to the INB checking account of $1,044,956.18 for general payables. Chairman Baltzell, I would answer any questions.
Okay, Commissioners, any questions or comments for Director Lean on anything that he's reported on so far? Seeing none, I would entertain a motion to approve the consent calendar as presented.
I'd make a motion to approve the consent calendar as presented.
Second.
Seconded. Any further discussion? Okay, roll call vote.
Baltzell?
Aye.
Carstensen?
Aye.
Rariman?
Aye.
Coles?
Aye.
And Davis?
Aye.
Okay, motion carried. Thank you. Committee updates, Finance and Policy. Commissioner Crosby is not with us today. Does any member of that group have anything to report?
No, we have nothing to report.
Okay, very good. Commissioner Coles, District Review. Anything new on that?
Nothing new, except we've authorized the Mets group to proceed with the center point analysis.
And actually, it's going to go beyond Center Point. It's going to be the remainder of the districts, not including City Center, I believe.
So it seemed like, wasn't it the end of November, or the first part of November, or the end of November, I believe?
Yeah, I think December is when we should be able to be
Okay.
expecting the report, or January. I can't remember which, but yeah, we're moving forward with that. That's definitely a good plan. She's doing good work for us. Communications, Property, and Personnel, Commissioner Carstensen.
Nothing to report.
Nothing to report. Okay. Moving right along today. Citizen comments. This section of the agenda is reserved for citizens wishing to address the commission regarding an agency-related issue. Comments related to future public hearings should be held for that public hearing, and persons wishing to speak will have 5 minutes. Anybody in the audience who would like to speak? Okay, very good. Moving on, we are having a public hearing today on the amended fiscal year 2015 budget for the Post Falls Urban Renewal Agency. If anyone wishes to speak and has not filled out a form, please do so now and give to the executive director. Notice of the public hearing was published on October 7th and October 14th as required under Idaho Code Section 50-29035, and I now open the public hearing. Director Lane will present the amended budget for fiscal year 2015.
Thank you, Chairman Baltzell. Can we get the budget up? On the amended budget, when we were preparing the fiscal year 2015 agency budget, this was about 14 months ago, the amount of actual expenditures on the Greensferry Overpass, Spencer Street Extension, and Spokane Street redevelopment construction projects were unknown at that time. We took advances on the loans at Washington Trust and Community First Banks to fund the construction costs, and look now for commission approval for this revised budget, which includes the expenses as funded by the bank advances. On the budget that we show up there, in the upper area, other financing sources, maybe Diane can point to that. The $5,751,527, that is additional revenue that we're showing in the amended budget, and that funding came from Washington Trust Bank and Community First Bank. So talk about source and use of funds from a budgeting standpoint. That is our source of funds in the amended budget. If you drop down to expenditures, the proponent reimbursements on City Center District, we show an increase from 437 up to 987,000. That $549,627 is the Spokane Street project. That was the additional expenditures for that project that we spent, and those funds came from the bank advances. Next line down on East Post Falls District, we show an increase of $2,200,000 up to $11,427,000. That also, the $9,171,432 is construction costs on the overpass, Spencer Street project, the extension project, and Highway 41. And to date, the Highway 41 project has been mostly the engineering costs, because that actual construction will not occur until the spring of 2016. So we have the total $5,751,000 in expenses. That balances with the $5,751,000 in additional revenue from the bank financing. So in order to stay in line with our balanced budget initiative, we need to amend that budget. If there's any questions on that, I would be happy to answer that.
Director Lane, did we have any citizens turn in any forms regarding the budget?
No, Chairman, we did not.
Okay. Then I will now close the public part of the hearing and open for commissioner deliberations and action from our commissioners. Are there any questions or comments from any of the commissioners? I think we've had a lot of discussion on this already, and we pretty well know why we're doing what we're doing. So I would entertain a motion.
I would move to approve the budget amendment.
I'll second that.
Okay, and can we include the adoption of the resolution 2015-04 to your,
Yes.
to that, and to the second? Okay. We have been moved and seconded. Any other discussion? Hearing none. Would you please call the roll?
Yes. Commissioner Carstensen,
Aye.
Rehrman,
Aye.
Coles,
Aye.
Davis,
Aye.
and Baltzell.
Aye. Motion carried. Thank you. Okay, unfinished business. Director Lean?
Kind of hard to keep up with you guys this morning.
Excuse me?
Kind of hard to keep up with you guys this morning. We're moving right along. That's
Have
good.
some more coffee.
Yeah.
That's good. Okay, we had our public hearing, we passed the budget, and unfinished business on the Greensferry Overpass status. We have current month expenses of $1,021,971.11. Total expenses to date on the project are $12,989,492.47. On schedule, Greensferry Overpass project team met and reviewed the project elements. That included opening ceremony coordination, continuing landscaping and irrigation plans submitted for reviews and comment. The MSE walls, the large vertical walls on each side on the ramps, those are all done. The work on the north side, the ramp, the parapet has been done, the curb, sidewalk, that's all done, and it's actually, paving has been completed on the north side from the structure down to Polston and up to Mullen. They're working right now on completing the concrete work on the moment slab, the curb, sidewalk, and parapet. Once they get that done, they were going to try to get that done this week, or if not, then first of next week. They'll probably be paving on the south side, on the ramp, next week. They have paved Greensferry on the one-way access for the businesses. They paved that this last week. And so that roadway is complete around the corner, underneath the deck, the bridge deck, into the little turnaround. So they are making very good progress on the paving. The weather has been very, very helpful. You know, the asphalt plants are hoping to get as much work done as possible before it gets really cold and really wet. And we're looking very good at this point. Celtice Way and Mullen Avenue signals are in the final stage of installation. They are working on Celtice. They are active and working on Mullen Avenue. We won't light those until we've talked about lighting those up when we do the dedication ceremony, when we open it up for traffic. At that point, we'll have those signals activated.
Will they activate the signals like a four-way stop for a period of time to get people's attention prior to just starting it so that people get used to seeing something there?
Good point, Chairman. People, the public needs to know this. Thank you. We'll activate the signals a few days ahead of time, and it will be a stop north and south on Greensferry, and it will be a yellow caution east and west on Mullen. So even though the signals are there and they're bagged right now, the heads are bagged, they will light them up a few days ahead of time for stopping north, south, and caution east and west.
Okay, and I think that's important because coming down Greensferry, approaching Mullen, to turn left or right onto Mullen, you don't get a lot of time to see the traffic coming at you.
Yeah.
I don't know if anybody's experienced that or it's just me getting old, but you really have to pay attention to what you're doing, because otherwise, I'm surprised we haven't had some vehicle interchanges taking place there. So I'm glad we haven't, and I think it's important that we get everybody's attention before you. Anyway, that's good. Thank you.
Excellent point. I think our community drivers are paying attention. They know there's a lot of construction that has been happening. They know, not knowing what the current status is, they are exercising a lot of caution.
And I think that's true, so I hope
That's
it
good.
continues. Yeah. Thank you.
ITD recently visited and inspected the site, and they were very happy with what they saw, with the work that they saw. We don't have any issues with ITD at this time.
Does that include the agreement that they are asking us to,
That was my next comment.
okay, press on.
On the, thank you.
Press on.
They don't have any issues with the site, with the construction. They've inspected it. Everything is going well. The cooperative agreement, we still need to, I had talked to Marvin Fenn earlier. I thought he was going to be here this morning just to be available to answer any questions from a technical standpoint, if necessary. The cooperative agreement, our counsel, Mr. Bredesen, has gone through and provided a few changes, updating that agreement so that it does not show some of the items that we were concerned about earlier. If the agreement is a year old and it says that ITD will do this and this and this before we start construction, because of the timing on getting that agreement to a point where we can sign it, all of the legal folks reviewing it and approving it, here we are a year later, and we still had some of that language, and they did change some of that, and they were comfortable with that language in there. They are looking at some additional changes right now, but we do need to execute that cooperative agreement in a form, because in essence that is part of turning over the project to the city and ITD from a maintenance standpoint. We need to release the obligation, our responsibility for that, and turn it over to them. And that's, some of that language is in that cooperative agreement. So we still need to work through and get that done.
Yeah. And for those of you that aren't too familiar with that, the document that they presented to us to sign for my signature, I refused to sign because much of the language had to do with stuff a year ago that's already happened that they weren't even involved in. I mean, they may have been, but yeah, but our attorney, Mr. Bredesen, found a way to make adjustments there to where I think I'll feel more comfortable signing that here very shortly. So thank you very much.
That's it.
Okay. Anybody have any questions on the unfinished business?
If I could. I was looking at page 11.
Sure.
And you might need the bottom part where it says contract line items. Go ahead.
Page
John,
11.
Find it. But page 11. The contract line items on the bottom there. It's off to the right. It says due to date percent. Is that saying that 100% of these items or 94% have been completed from the original contract?
I'm sorry, I'm not sure what page 11 is. I don't have my pages numbered.
You should.
I know I should.
Okay, it's that page right there.
Application for payment, Wadsworth's. Right there. Keep going. It's in the consent calendar stuff.
You got two of them here.
Is it an item that's important?
Not overly important. I'm just curious as to why everything happened to come out at, I'm hoping that 100% is.
He's asking about the percentages here. Which line item were you asking about?
Just asking on that bottom part, is that the totals from the total contract for RLW?
Yes,
Okay, so it's saying that those 100% items have already been completed and paid for, I'm assuming?
yes, on the original contract amounts.
Okay. So then this includes everything but the change that we made here a couple weeks ago? Or is that in here?
That change order amount is not in here.
Okay. And then the only other thing I see under CRB incentive award, there's nothing there. And that, I would have thought there would have been 66% of that in there, but
This sheet that you're looking at, you're referencing, is an internal worksheet that we generate. So it's, we probably could have or should have shown the CRB incentive awards to date. We could have done that.
so when it's all said and done, everything on the right will be 100%.
Yes,
Okay,
hopefully not
not,
over 100%.
well, that's what I was kind of hoping for.
Now, on the change order that we did,
Yeah,
that included some, I think we've had this discussion, but that included the work around the additional costs, some thousand. That will be, they will put that into a draw request, a pay request, because that work's already been done. They've expended the funds, we've approved reimbursement for that amount. So they will put that amount into the next pay request.
okay.
On the balance of that, on the change order that we approved, the rest of that is compensable overhead. And I had the conversation with them, I don't want to see that full amount in the next draw request. You apportion that remaining compensable overhead amount, you split that out over the next 2 months, so that it's more of an actual expense that we see for their work. So we have had that discussion.
Okay.
Now, on the same subject, different part, north of Mullen, that sidewalk, is there any update on that? As I see last night, I rode by there, and is that coming up or what?
Thank you.
Yeah.
Commissioner Carstensen, I do have in front of me a draft change order for that work. The dollar amount is $4,297.32. And this is, ADA requirements say that you have to connect, I won't go into the language, but we have to connect the sidewalk from our project up to the north to the pre-existing sidewalk. We originally thought that that would be a couple $1,000s, that's what we were told. And then they said, well, if we do that out in the roadway, in the existing right-of-way, they'll just have to tear it up and replace it when they develop the property, the street frontage improvements. And so why spend that money and then tear it up? They talked to the property owner, and he is amenable to giving us a right-of-way easement now to do a permanent sidewalk. So if we do the permanent sidewalk, you have to go to a different width that fits the continuing the construction. You're a little wider, so a little more cost there. And also, there is a driveway approach in that area that they would have to finish. So we went from the 2,000 up to the 4,200, and its genesis of this was basically because of the ADA requirements.
Plus the fact that the right-of-way access is going to be donated to the project, right?
Yes.
Okay.
So we don't need to worry about any more real estate
Right.
access.
Okay, very good.
But like I said, this is, this is a draft, and it was submitted to me for review, and also to Chris Dillman over at Wadsworth. And once they get that back to JUB, we'll get a final change order, and I'll bring that in for the chairman to sign.
So I'm concluding then that with this change order that the URA is going to pay for that?
Yes.
Okay, I was thinking back at, and I couldn't find it, that at one point that the city said they would handle the payment of that at $2,500, but I can't prove it.
No, and it's because it's part of an extension of the project. There's some fine lines in there. It's like, you guys get to pay for it because it's part of the project.
I would only think that's fair.
Yeah, I think that's fair, and it isn't something at this stage of the game that I think we need to cause any difficulty over either. So let's get it done.
That is correct.
Press on.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Any other questions on the unfinished business? No? Okay, move on. Any new business today to consider? Okay. There's See none, we'll move to the staff report and updates, if you have anything additional to share.
Very briefly, Spencer Street Extension. Overall, we're behind schedule about 1 week due to Avista moving a gas line. They could not get a crew on site there was a week delay because of their getting a crew on site. And BNSF is slow on approving the work around the rail crossing. You can't step onto their right-of-way on the rail and do anything. You can't turn a shovel of dirt or anything unless they go through the process with us in the city and getting a few forms approved and legal and everything else. We're still working through that process. The overall schedule at this time is for completion around mid-November. A lot of people still, I get the questions, when are you going to be done with Spencer Street? Like March, April? But no, we'll be done with that in November. Roughly the same time that we're done with Greensferry, substantial completion on that. The November workshop, just a point of order, November workshop for us would normally be held on Wednesday, November 11th. That's a holiday, that's Veterans Day. So we're trying to get that, we've tentatively scheduled that for Tuesday, November 10th, the day before, at 7 o'clock over in the Chamber Conference Room.
I have a suggestion, and unless we have some burning issues to deal with, why don't we cancel the workshop meeting for that week, since we're going to be having the grand opening on the 12th, Veterans Day is the 11th. We'd meet the following week for a commission meeting, and unless we needed it for a special meeting for something coming up that we didn't foresee, just to go through all of our detail, just seems to me to rearrange our schedules, it would make more sense to cancel the workshop unless somebody has some reason why we shouldn't or couldn't. It's our choice to have a workshop, so in my mind, it's different than the commission meeting. So does anybody have any thoughts you'd like to share?
It makes perfect sense to me, unless there's something extraordinary we need to discuss. Let's just bag it.
I agree.
Mr. Carstensen?
Whatever. I'm flexible.
Any reason that you can see coming up, Director Lean or Mr. Bredesen, that would cause us to have heartburn over not meeting if we cancel it?
No, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. So if we need a special, go ahead.
Typically, we send out the information packet in advance, and that's a little bit repetitious when we come to our meeting this morning because all of this information we reviewed. We will send out the financial information for review, so you'll have the opportunity to review that. Everything else on schedule is fairly normal, the minutes and everything, so there's nothing pressing there. The only thing that may be subject to review and maybe discussion at the commission meeting, and this is perfectly fine, would be the ITD agreement if we get that back. If we get that back and it will be in your packet for review, that may be the only thing for review and discussion at the meeting. And we can do that. We can deal with that.
We can do that ahead of time so it'd be prepared and ready to take action at the commission meeting. So I can't see any reason why we would, let's just cancel the workshop for November. And
We can do that.
if we need a special meeting for a specific thing, we'll do it. But other than that, we're not. Does that sound okay?
Yeah.
Okay. Very good. Anything else on the staff report?
No, sir.
Commissioner comments?
I just have a question about the Spencer Street. Do you foresee any other delays besides the week-long delay with the Vista and then the BNSF? Is there anything else, or do you anticipate
No, Commissioner, we have monthly construction meetings, not monthly, we have weekly construction meetings here at City Hall with the city staff, the contractor, the engineer, myself. I'm not aware of any other issue that we're dealing with at this time.
And they flag you if there's something that they might recommend? Okay.
Absolutely.
It'd be nice to have it done.
Any
I
other?
also have a question on the Spencer Street project. Between Spencer Street and the mobile home park, there's all those concrete bollards. Are they being removed, or are they going to stay there? I've been asked by people that live there if they're going to have access to that street. there, and I've said, no.
On the east side of the Jersey barrier, the blocks, on the east side of that is Spencer Street, a city street. On the west side of those blocks is an access road for the mobile home park. So that is a private road for access for the mobile home park. And that also is county property. That's not city, that's county land. So those barriers will remain there as a separation between the county and the city, and also the separation between the access road, on-site access road, and the city street. There will be access from 3rd Avenue as it extends through the perimeter property line on the mobile home park into Spencer Street. There will be an access area there.
I would suggest, if that's a concern and something that they can do something about, that they would get the mobile home property owner and the county together to talk about how that could be better, what they could do differently.
It would be wonderful in a perfect world.
Yeah, is that right? Yeah, exactly. Good question, though. And anything else?
No, thanks for explaining it.
Mr. Carstensen? Okay. Chairman comments. I had two things, one of which we've already covered, and that is the cancellation of our workshop. That was on my mind. And the second piece is just a comment on Spencer Street as recent as yesterday. I had a citizen who lives in that area that has to go around to the Highway 41 area or all the way down the other way. Can't wait to get that street open, and wants to know how soon we're going to get that open. So there's a lot of interest in getting it done. I think it will be very helpful to the community to have that roadway opened up and take some relief off of the east and west ends of Celtics. So other than that, I don't have any other comments. I appreciate all of you coming out early for a short meeting, but it still works good, and thank you for all your work, and I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. We're adjourned.